What's up, guys? Brad here from the Brad Botner Truck Podcast, and welcome to a brand new episode. If you guys are tuning in via iTunes or Podbean or Stitcher, one of the audio platforms, I also encourage you, when the time is right, to head over to YouTube as well and check out the video version of this podcast. I get excited every week, to be honest, to give you guys a brand new show, and this week is no different, although this week is a bit different. It's different in that it's just me because I've been doing, the odd interview here and there and having guests on the show, which I absolutely love to do. I love to learn from others and I love to share others' stories on this platform, which is really why I started this podcast 2.5 years ago. That was the motivation, was to create this platform for people to tell their stories. And the odd time, as you guys know, if you've been listening for a while, I'll hop on here and I'll tell my own story. And some of those stories will be quick, some of them a little bit longer. But generally, if I'm hopping on the mic by myself, I haven't really sat here for longer than, say, 10, 12 minutes. And why is that? It's because I felt uncomfortable a bit. I felt like I didn't have that much to say. But today is different. And it's different because I have a lot to say. And I hope that this podcast sparks something in some of you, even just one of you. I feel when I'm inspired, like I am right now, it's my duty to move. And I'm reminded of the quote from the late Nipsey Hussle, and he says, "The highest human act is to inspire." So while I'm inspired, the most thankless thing, the most thoughtful thing, and the most generous thing I can do is look to inspire someone else. And that's why I've hopped on today. And the message I want to share with those of you that are listening is this: move. And when I mean move, I don't necessarily mean physically get up and move, although if that resonates with you, then do that, get up and move. But what I mean by move is, when you are inspired by something, when you feel something inside of you, I encourage you to move. And that could be anything from a thought about, texting someone or calling someone or saying something to someone or getting up and moving or writing that blog or hopping on a microphone and recording a podcast. Whatever it is, when that comes over you, I suggest and highly recommend that you move. And I can say that because I've witnessed and am witnessing firsthand again the importance of moving. And why is it important? It's important because motion creates emotion. I've said this before many, many times on the podcast, and I actually recorded a YouTube video last week where I spoke of this as well. But if we want to feel alive, if we want to feel emotions, we need to actually move. And again, when I say move, I'm not talking about just physically moving. I'm talking about moving towards something. And for me, it's this podcast, it's my business, it's creation. And I'll share that over the last few weeks, maybe month plus, I had been in a bit of a dip, and life is like nature. Is, there's seasons and seasons change, and there's darkness and there is light and all of those things. And that is life as well. You can't always be too high on the high and you can't always be too low on the lows. And for me, it was a moment where I was really, really understanding that I was challenged. And in that time, I wasn't moving. I wasn't creating. And why wasn't I? I mean, there's a multitude of reasons, but regardless, I just wasn't moving. And then something happened. I had a conversation, and that conversation inspired me. And then I started moving. And guess what happened when I started moving? More things started happening for me. So it was a moment in time where I had clarity. And the clarity was, and again, I shared this in a blog that I wrote a few weeks ago, I didn't really know what to do to get out of that slump that I was in, for lack of a better term, but I knew what not to do. So I started doing more of what I knew not to do. And from that created this incredible amount of momentum, whether it was, new content on my YouTube channel, or reaching out to podcast guests, or writing some more, or really pushing from a marketing standpoint and creating. Because guess what? There's nothing else for me to do. Meaning, I only have one shot at this, and this could be my last shot. And when I say this could be my last shot, I mean this could be my last day. This could be my last podcast. And I think that is actually a very beautiful space to be in. And it's not a dark or negative space to be in. If you listening right now were to fully understand how fragile life is, that this could be your last day, this could be your last moment, how would you live it? And for me, I'm encouraged because of that idea to come on here and record this podcast, to come on here and plant this seed to last for however long podcasts are going to last for. And this will be here forever, this message of move. Because like I said, what else is there to do? I feel called to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I feel like for so long now, I have been confused by the quote or the saying that I've said all the time. And I thought I understood it, but I clearly didn't. And it's been shared by Tony Robbins and many other people, but it's the idea of the human flaw, that we will do more to avoid pain than we will to seek pleasure. And while I understood it like fundamentally what they're saying is like, yeah, we will avoid things. We'll put more energy to avoid things than we will to seek pleasure. Well, now I understand it on a whole different level, and I'm going to try and articulate it to you guys, and how it really, for me, has caused me to move. And while we as humans will do more to avoid pain than to seek pleasure, what I needed to do was associate pain with not doing those things that I really should be doing. And that is like getting out and putting myself out there even more than I already am, launching new programs, doing new research, recording new podcasts, just moving. And I associated pain with not moving. And what did that mean? That meant for me that there was pain associated to not do it. So I was going to do as much as I possibly could to avoid that pain. Whereas most of us associate pain with things like exercising or taking on things that we don't understand. So we avoid those things. And I get it, because again, that's just the human way. But can we go deeper on that? And can we associate pain with not knowing, with not exercising, with not consuming enough water, with not meditating? Can we associate pain with not holding space for ourselves? Can we associate pain with, man, if I don't do this, wow, is that going to hurt? So if you don't do what's inside of you, associate pain with that. And so many of us don't. So many of us just bite our lip and we forget it and we leave it. And I encourage you, I don't want to say you can't do that, but you can't do that. And I'm only speaking from experience. You need to get out of your way and you need to move. So find a way to somehow associate pain with your lack of movement. And again, this is extremely difficult to do. And again, I'm after literally years of regurgitating that quote of those words, I only now understand that I need to associate pain to the things that I've been avoiding. And not because they're painful. The idea of not doing them is more painful. And that's such a key delineation to understand. And we as humans, again, we won't move until it is so painful. So whether it's you're in a relationship and you know it's bad, but it isn't bad enough. Or you're overweight, but you're not overweight enough. Or your bank account is low, but it's not low enough. Once you reestablish what those levels are, and once you associate pain with those levels, then and only then will you move. And I encourage you all to reassess those levels and move, and maybe set a new standard for yourself. Maybe try and set a new standard for every aspect of your life, from your bank account to your body, to your mind, to your relationship, all of those things. And then once you set that standard, move to create achieving that new standard, and then set a new one, and then move to achieve that standard. And that's where I'm at today. And that's where I'm at after being in, like I said, a bit of a slump. Now I'm literally just writing, and I'm literally just producing, and I'm moving. And through that movement, so much other stuff is happening. And it's not just stuff, it's these tangible things. It's this inspiration for this podcast. It's, Life the Recipe, the mini course, it's programs, it's all of those things. Because I feel like I have a purpose, and as do you. And this is what we all have to understand as well. Like, we are all absolute miracles, and you listening to this have something to share with the world today, and I encourage you to share it. I was speaking with someone last night via text, and they were looking to start a blog, and I thought it was an awesome idea. I think anyone using the platforms that exist today to get their ideas out and share is just such a powerful thing. And we all should be doing some form of it, whether it's through Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or a podcast or a blog. I just think, again, there's so much power in it. And this person said to me, "Oh, can I send it to you to have a look at it and let me know what you think before I send it out?" And I said, "You absolutely can." But then I said, "Do you think Beyonce cares what you think about her music?" And this person said, "No, absolutely not." And I said, "Well, then you need to be like Beyonce. You need to stop caring what other people think and just create, because that's what all of the greats do. All of the greats that are doing these amazing things that we're all attracted to, that we want to spend time and money and effort looking at and watching and viewing, they spend very little time in their own way guessing what other people are going to think about it. If they feel something inside of them and they feel like it's right, they're going to act on it. Do they have moments of imposter syndrome? Do they have moments where are they concerned what other people think? Absolutely. Why? Because they're human. But at their core, the reason why they are so special, the reason why we in society hold them so high is because somehow, some way, they're able to just move. They're able to exercise all of those demons that say, don't do this, no one's going to like it, your podcast stinks, your last album sucked, whatever it is, and they just create. Whether it's someone like Beyonce or artists like Michelangelo or Picasso or a writer like Malcolm Gladwell or an investor like Ray Dalio, these people, as far as I can see and understand, spend very little time concerning themselves with others. And that's something that I am such a fan of, the idea of it's none of my business what you think of me. And it's none of my business what anyone thinks of me. What I need to be concerned about is what's going on inside of me. How do I feel? How am I showing up? And am I actually fulfilling my purpose of the gift that I've been given? And I encourage you guys to look in the mirror and ask yourselves that as well. And it's so easy to get busy and avoid that. But man, when you align with your purpose, when you align with why you're here, when you touch base with that and then you act on it and you do your best to fulfill it, it is such a beautiful thing. And just the other day, I had this idea again of like, this could be my last day, my last moment. And I don't think that's a negative thing. I think it's a very positive and beautiful thing, because, oh my God, do you live in the moment? And I picked up our son and I held him, and I just felt like so much love and appreciation. And I held him so tight, and he put his head on my shoulder. And I just thought, this is it. This is why I move. This is why I take that time to be in the moment and fully understand how beautiful and precious and incredible life is, and how much we can control that. We can control how much we literally enjoy a situation. How crazy is that? Any situation, you are in control of how much you enjoy it, whether it's a beautiful moment like hugging your child or taking the garbage to the curb. You you are in full control of that moment and how it feels inside of your body. You control that, not the moment, not the environment. The environment literally shapes to how you want it to be. And for me, I just fully understand that death is imminent and that is the ultimate pain. So what am I going to do while I'm here? What I'm going to do when I have that moment with my son, when I have that opportunity with a client, when I have that opportunity on the podcast, when I have the opportunity to communicate with people. What am I going to do? What am I going to share? How am I going to show up? And you bet your ass I'm going to be in the moment, and I'm just going to let it come through me. And while none of this may resonate with any of you, maybe you don't feel inspired. Maybe you don't feel things come through you. And if that is the case, I feel sorry for you. I don't sympathize for you. I empathize for you because I've been there as well. Like I said, when I was in the slump, it's just like I couldn't do anything, or at least I didn't think I could. I was so uninspired. But all it took, and all it will take for you, is to expose yourself to something. And I was exposed to one conversation, and that one conversation completely changed everything for me. And will I go back to having a slump? Yes, I will. And I understand that. Because like I said, this is like Mother Nature. This is like a day. There is darkness and there is light. There is summer and there is winter. But it doesn't mean that we sit there and we bathe in the slump. We embrace it. We understand it. Maybe it's a time to rest and rejuvenate. And then we do what we can to surround ourselves in spaces and places and people that are going to lift us up and hopefully inspire us to get out of that slump. That's what I was lucky enough to do. That's what I was lucky enough to, get back on my laptop and start creating and send out emails and just be reckless. And why? Because why not? Because I don't have anything else. What else is there for me to do? Nothing. So I'm going to try everything I possibly can, and I'm going to fall on my face and learn from it and get back up again. And I'm doing that because I want to be wildly successful, and I want to fulfill my purpose. And then I want to spark that in someone else, and I want them to go and do the exact same thing. And here's the thing, and I'll paraphrase the quote, but Tupac was interviewed obviously years ago, 20 years ago plus. And he was saying, maybe I won't change the world, but it is my duty to at least try and be the spark to someone else that may change the world. So maybe this podcast will only ever be heard by a couple thousand people. But guess what? There might be one person, maybe that's you, who hears something or sees something on my social media and go, like, if he can do it, then why can't I? And let me tell you, you can do it. That's the whole 4-minute mile thing, and the idea of beliefs and thoughts and seeing it to believe. Like, you don't have to see it to believe it. You just have to believe it. And once you believe it, it will become your reality. And yes, there are actions that you need to take. You can't just sit there on the sofa and believe your way to success. But it is a first step. And perhaps, like I said, this podcast or something I've done in the past may be that spark for you. Maybe it hasn't. That's totally okay too. That's not why you are tuning in, I don't think. But perhaps it is. And if that is the case, Find other people as well. Surround yourself with other people doing things and getting out of their own way and moving and being the Beyoncés of the world who don't care what other people think and are just creating. Again, you have a purpose. I don't know what that is, and perhaps you don't as well. But I know for me, it's taken me a while to touch base with it, and it's taken me a while to get comfortable with stepping into it. I encourage you guys to take time, whether it's through meditation or through exercise or through writing or through speaking with other people, is search to find what your purpose is. And then as soon as you know it, as soon as you feel it, move on it right away, because the world will truly be a better place when you do. So I encourage you, when this podcast is done, to move, whether it is something you've been meaning to say to someone you love, or a business you've been meaning to start, or a relationship you've been trying to fix or get out of. I encourage you to move, because what else is there? All you have right now is this moment, and I want to encourage you to take advantage of it, be completely present, and when you do that, watch how life conspires for you. I appreciate you guys, your support and kind words and downloads and subscriptions means the absolute world to me. If you're able to, head over to iTunes and leave me a review. I am now fully understanding, I think, the importance of how comments and reviews in iTunes really helps the analytic gods and helps me in this podcast. So if you're able to do that, I would greatly appreciate that. And also, for those of you interested, Life, the Recipe Daily Journal is for sale. You can get it on Amazon.com.ca all over the world, or you can head to my website, bradbodnerchuk.com, and under the shop tab, you can order your book, and I will personally sign it and send it your way. And then lastly, before I let you go, Life, the Recipe, the mini course is live and up. Sorry, it's not live. It's up and starting March 15th, which is a week from today, which is pretty special. It's a 6-week program where we've condensed our 6-month program into 6 weeks. And right now, if you sign up, you save 50% on that program. Life, the Recipe mini course. Get it through the Brad Podnerchuk website under the shop tab as well. I'd love to see you guys in there. I think it's a great program, and check the reviews and testimonials on my site with people that we've worked with. And I know it's a powerful tool, and it's a great deal right now for a fantastic program, if I do say so myself. That's it for me. You guys know what to do. Until next time, be good and do good. Peace.